Baker. Number 12, Brian Backman. Number 10, Scott Kirby. Number 44, Brett Helmer. Number 23, Kyle Pearson. Number 8, Travis Clark. Number 30, Kevin Philby. Number 94, Buddy Wolf. Number 21, Mike Gunshide. Number 14, Kevin Bazat. And number 16, Brad Records. The other members, all Smash Sports. Number 32, Westy Will. Number 9, Chris Hansen. Number 1, Jason Williams. Number 8, Billy Messina. And number 6, Stephen Gentry. Ladies and gentlemen, Smash Sports. And they're coached by Pete Campbell and Billy Messina. And now introducing Backman.
Let's begin with the starting lineup for the number 1 seed, Backman. Leading things off, it will be their third baseman, number 24, Lee Powers. Batting second and playing first base, number 11, Kevin Kennington. Batting third, the right fielder, number 9, Neil Haglund. In the cleanup spot, it'll be the left fielder, number 30, Jeremy Yates. Batting fifth to shortstop, number 5, Ryan Stovall. Batting sixth, it'll be the catcher, number 35, Ryan Harvey. Batting seventh, the middle infielder, number 11, Orlando Castillo. Batting eighth, it'll be the second baseman, number 1, Stephen Lloyd. Batting ninth, it'll be the center fielder, number 2, Brian Logan. And batting 10th, the pitcher, number 18, Andrew Vitek. And the other members of the Backman squad, number 6, Reggie Schulte. Number 3, Jeff LaHare. Number 48, Terry Baggs. Number 10, Aaron Lewicki. The head coach, Dal Beggs. The assistant coach and sponsor, number 71, Scott Sunderland. The sponsors, number 13, John Backman, and number 8, JJ Backman. Their trainer, number 7, Scott Eddy. And the stats are done by number 29, Tracy Flack. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the number 1 seed, Backman, Louisville Slugger. And the umpires for this evening's matchup. At first base, the Hall of Famer, Chuck Doc Beckwell. At second base, from the great state of Arizona, Mr. Ken Hawk. From third base, also from the great state of Arkansas, Mr. Jason Overlag. And at home plate, celebrating his 45th birthday, from the great state of Michigan, Tony Walzak. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we would ask that you please rise, remove your caps, place your hand over your hearts, the flag waving in the left center field breeze, and join us in singing our national anthem.
right, bud. Doc. That one's mine. That one's, no, mine's right here. Go, you're good, you're good. You're good. This one's mine. Harp.
All right, it's the Men's Major World Series here from Champion Stadium. We're glad you're with us wherever you are watching around the country. The top two teams in slow pitch softball battling for the ultimate prize. Bernie Gunther, Don Cooper, and Jade Smith. And Coop, two really great teams about to settle up and battle against one another here.
Yeah, you've got the kind of the veteran group down there on the Smash It side, who are that core, that top four, the core that have won this the years that Rosmondo has it since 2007. And you've got the upstarts over there on the other side, some young guys, hungry guys, some guys that have come from those teams to build into Jerry Backman's organization. So it's kind of a battle of who's done it and who wants to do it.
Bryson Baker leading things off. This Smash It Sports core last won the Men's Major World Series in 2012. They were then called Laser Vision. A lot of those same core people were a part of that team. First pitch is a ball. Now Bryson Baker hits this one into center field. It holds up enough, and the catch is made out in center for out number one. You can expect really great defense, and if you're joining us, a Major League Baseball audience, a couple of differences obviously between these games, baseball and slow pitch softball. Obviously you're going to see power. There's unlimited home runs. They can hit as many as they want at the major level. But just like in baseball, we're going to see a lot of really great plays. Some plays that you may wait an entire month to see a catch out of the left field fence that gets hauled back at your favorite Major League team. We may see 2 or 3 tonight.
Yeah, one of the things about it is you see some of these players that have come up and come through the ranks that have been, minor league players and Division I, Division II players. And all these balls get put into play, where if you're looking at a Major League Baseball game and, you've got an ace out there, you may see 10, 11, 12 strikeouts, some foul outs, foul balls. Or here, so many of the balls are put into place, like right there, and knuckling all the way out there. You have an opportunity to see those plays because, every ball's put into play and put into play hard.
Yates making the play out of left field, and a little different start. These two teams actually faced one another in the semifinal last night. This is a double elimination tournament. And last night, Smash It Sports and those boys, they put up 12.
Yeah, and I've always thought in these situations, sometimes the team that's coming through the losers bracket has a 2 or 3 inning advantage here. They just played. They've had a 15, 20-minute break. Sure, they're a little bit tired, but they're also kind of in a groove. They've been hitting. They've been playing all day. Smash It, won their 1 o'clock game. They've gone back to their rooms. They've relaxed, showered, changed. Everybody said, well, that's got to be an advantage. I think it can be as the night goes on, but for the first few innings sometimes, Backman's, legs are underneath them. They're in game ready to go. And I think what they need to do is run themselves out to an 8, 9, 10, 12-run lead and see if they can hold on and force that if game.
Scott Kirby at the plate. Look at this, a rarity in slow pitch softball. We have a 1, 2, 3 first inning. The regular season champions getting set to come to the plate when we come back. Backman, they need to win 2.
each and every day you come out here to the park, you give everything you got.
Behind every good team is a great coach.
Our hands are not in here, hands are out.
Today's coaches mold tomorrow's leaders.
A lot of hard work.
We know the blood, sweat, and tears that go into the job. And that's why this season, coaches fly free when booking their team's travel with us.
That's all right, come on, it's fine.
Save time, save money, fly with the Air Travel Group.
We are back for the bottom of the first inning. Backman coming to the plate, and that's exactly what they wanted to do, Coop. You think about the boys from Smash It Sports. They scored 12 runs in the first inning last night, and the boys from Backman are going to have a chance to get off to a really nice start.
And I've been on both sides of this in this game, and one of the situations you have is if you can get to a NIF game, I think so much pressure then so much pressure then
This is Neil Hagelin at the plate. I think he's figured it out. The good news is the wind was really howling into the right field corner, and Backman was upset because we had a couple of balls that turned and went foul that they thought was fair, of course, because in slow pitch softball, the player is always right, not the umpire. But the wind has really died down.
And as we've talked about, if you were watching the broadcast last night, and I'm sure you've been talking about today, the park plays shorter to right field no matter what. It always seems like the wind blows out to right here, but it also probably honestly plays between 20 and 30 feet shorter to right than it does to left.
Jeremy Yates. That one is gone as well, and it clears both walls, 432 feet. Yates has left the yard.
That puts him in the lead, 14 home runs on the World Series. And
Ryan's gotten it done with the glove and with the bat.
Play it.
He's got 7 home runs, 20 driven in.
Right.
It's a huge cut there, isn't it?
Well, this is what we talked about. Can you run out and get a little bit of a lead, smash it back on their heels? First part of that was to get out of the top of the first cheap, and they not only got out of their cheap, they got out of there with a 0.
Knocked down by Clark.
Hot smash back through the box, but a nice play by the pitcher, Travis Clark. He flips the first to get
Got to be quick.
now 2 away. And
If you're going to be a pitcher, that one wasn't hit particularly well, but right back up
Right
the middle.
back at him, and you can see there on your screen the protective gear that Travis wears. And here's the former first-round draft pick, Ryan Harvey, who actually didn't start this morning's games because he got himself into a funk last night, and he took 4 or 5 of the swings that we haven't seen him take in a couple of years now. And it looks like he's last couple of games he's got himself back on it. His first round of the home run derby last night was as impressive as you will see.
Oh my, over at third base. That was hit well. Too well, I guess, if you will, if you're on the smash it side.
Number 11, Orlando Castillo.
And Orlando Castillo at the plate.
The replay here of it.
This ball comes off the bat at 109 miles an hour, our flight scope tells us. And back to live, Orlando Castillo. He's left the yard with a home run.
104.5 miles an hour and 409 feet. He puts 2 more on the board.
And Orlando Castillo a 2-run home run. And that'll make it 5.
It's a 5-0 Backman lead here.
Now stepping into the box, Stephen Lloyd.
Play it.
That brings Stephen Lloyd to the plate. And Lloyd takes a called strike. Just one of those innings. Smash It had a chance to turn the double play. We saw not necessarily an error they're going to call it over at third, but a play that could have been made.
That Travis is used to making. It came off at 67.3 to his glove side, and Travis makes that play 8 or 9 times out of 10.
Sleep ball. You guys move those shin pads? Thank you.
Brings us to the pitcher, Andy Vitkak.
We got time.
Vidcat with a nice first inning.
Thanks, Lee.
And we could not get through the first inning without a timeout.
Billy Messina had to talk. We talked about this last night. It's an odd thing in slow pitch softball. You think, what is there to talk about? But sometimes, for whatever reason, this is the key that works, right?
Absolutely. We saw it last night at 6-7 times in a row. After a timeout, we've got an out. I also think Billy's probably out there telling him, hey, we knew they were going to come out. We just got to weather this storm. Get us out of here right now. We'll come back in, get 3-4, walk them down, and we're going to win this thing. But he's just trying to keep this close right now.
Hey, Trav, no higher than that one. Okay? That was kind of pushing a little bit, but no higher.
And you hear Tony Walzak say to the pitcher, no higher than that one. And what he was telling him is that I'm sure his catcher or him were asking, hey, where am I at on the ceiling of the pitch? And he letting him know the one that he called a strike 2 pitches ago is as high as he's going to let it go.
Yeah, let me know.
Andrew Vitzak, 5-0 start for Backman Shop.
Play it.
That was real close to 5 seconds.
Floating, carrying. Oh, they're going to say foul in the corner.
And that will be an out.
A foul out to retire the side. Wow. Andrew Vitzak. Once you get 1 strike, you got to hit the next ball fair.
Game of inches here. See if we can get a shot at it.
Down the line.
We have third base umps hustling out the whole way.
Tough to tell.
I can't tell.
Jason was in my way. I couldn't see it. He pointed.
Jason hustled all the way down there, so it's hard to argue with it. You appreciate the hustle from the ump.
Yeah, a little more towards out towards the end of it. Yeah.
So you're up at dawn, kid, look alive. You've been saving for a big man cave. Good luck with that, Dave. You made the most of your retirement plan, so you better learn to drive that RV, man. So many things you're doing in your life. Nationwide is on your side.
Thanks, bud.
Beautiful sunset here at Champion Stadium. Day setting on a beautiful day. What a great weekend of slow pitch softball. Obviously, you're just getting a chance to watch the major here, but as you mentioned, you're at the Women's Worlds.
Yeah, we have the women's A going on out in the back right now. We just finished up with the women's B and C. We've got men's B going on right now at a couple of other parks here nearby, and of course the Men's Major World Series, and it's part of 3 weeks of it. Bernie, last week we had the Women's Major World Series going on here in the stadium and in the park full with other divisions, and then it continues next week with over 200 men's E teams in one bracket.
Brett Helmer.
Sort it up.
I think potentially he has the chance to be in the running to be one of the MVPs of this tournament. You know, we were talking about it, I guess, a little bit earlier with DW from softballcenter.com. I guess the hard thing is Brett Helmer comes in as the designated hitter, so you probably got to do things a little bit better to catch the eyes. You hit the home runs, you get the RBIs, because you're not making a lot of defensive plays.
Right. We've always, you know, and you see that in any level since the DH has been put in. But what I've always said about that, I'm a Seattle Mariners fan, and I think Edgar Martinez belongs in the Hall of Fame, because once we make that position and we make it an official position, we should judge that position equally. And the home runs Brett Helmer has hit in this, and the clutch home runs that he's hit this weekend, you know, he belongs there. And here's the monster of the Midway, Bernie.
Kyle Pearson, he has hit 900. Put that in perspective if you're a Major League Baseball fan. 900 in the tournament.
And he just hit that one about 900 feet.
It's hit one 439 feet the opposite way. Absolutely crushed by Kyle Pearson, and Smash It is on the board for the first time. Second in this tournament in slugging percentage.
There were some great performances put on this weekend down here. This week, I should say, starting Wednesday. The veteran Dennis Ruley, I was so impressed with, 52, 53 years old.
Right.
And just wore it out, you know. And then we flip it to the young guys. Kyle Pearson right here, you know, kind of in his first showcase. He's played here, but now he's front and center on a team that's obviously got the leading chance to win it.
Travis Clark into second, and look at this. He's trying to get to third, and he is out. A little too greedy, and he knows it.
Yeah, you can see his third base coach, Billy Messina, just kind of walk away. I'm not even going to make eye contact with you right now because I'm not sure what you were thinking. You love the hustle, but on the other hand...
And he knew right here.
Yeah, I'm in trouble. And the other problem with that, he is your pitcher, and he's going in head first there, exposing himself.
We could if you want to.
The last thing you need to do is lose him right now.
Kevin Philby.
Play it.
Flip, his nickname.
All right.
You see him around the country in Major League ballparks during the summer, showcasing his hitting ability in the long haul bomber tour.
Right.
And obviously a little different doing it now than in a home run derby.
Sure.
But he'll hit it just as far as you'll see him just down the road, and that's what he could do as well, just dump it out to center field. And again, back to the base running here, because Travis Clark would have scored there to make it 5-3.
Well, and it goes all the way back to Little League, right? We don't make the first or third out at third base. Especially with the two big lefties coming up right behind you. Why? One of these two, the way they've been going is going out there on the Helmer's wall, so you might as well stand there and take the jog back in. That looked like a lot of work.
I got you.
Buddy Wolf, this is the championship game of the Men's Major World Series. Smash It Sports, because they've come all the way through with no losses, nothing but wins. They need just one win to win it. Backman's got to win two. And oh, wow, that one went over Helmer's wall, 443 feet.
Yeah, launch angle of 33, 108.8 mile an hour exit speed, and but we should be tied right now. Destroyed.
I got
Don't let that deceive your eyes. That went not only over the first wall, it went over the second wall as well.
Nice piece of hitting right here by Mike Umscheid. Tucks it in the corner down there.
Yeah, look at the wheels. Umscheid headed to third.
Yeah, and we've described that for those that haven't been here. Right field dog legs in a little bit so they can make a bullpen out there. But behind that's actually a road and parking spots that are used by the Atlanta Braves management during spring training, and then during the other VIPs for other events here. The 2-lane drive-through back there with parking, and then about a 24, 25-foot wall, something to that effect, 20-foot wall back there. So when you're going over Helmer's wall, you have done your work.
Now you're here still.
Kevin Bazat. This is just the second out of the inning, and it's big for Smash It because they've now tied it up 5-5.
Well, and this is what I think we talked about a little bit here, right in the first inning, is Backman wanted to try to get a little bit of separation here while Smash It got into this game, coming right off of playing the scene. And the unfortunate part of that out at third is hopefully it doesn't prevent them, if you're a Smash It fan, from running out a little bit here, because Backman is the home team, and I'm sure some people are curious, well, why isn't Smash It the home team? They were the undefeated team coming in, but what was agreed upon a couple years ago with the sponsors and the conference managers were that you would earn home field advantage with your regular season play. So Backman was the #1 overall seed. Smash It was the #4 overall seed. So this first game, the Backman would be the home team, as you can see. But if we do go to a NIF game, there'll be a coin flip for that.
Back to the top of the lineup, and Bryson Baker. He's been a part of so many big teams in the history of this tournament. He's won so many of these championships, both with his Laser Vision Smash It Sports Squad, also with Rismondo. And he hits this one to the deepest part of the park, and the ballpark holds it.
Nice running catch by Brian Logan for the third out of the inning.
But a big inning for Smash It Sports. They score 5. Backman coming back to the plate, though, for their second opportunity when we come back.
Cocoa Beach, the authentic beach town, where the sand is our building blocks and a board is our preferred mode of transportation. A place where memories are awakened by the sound of a wave. It's the home of the original, home to the iconic, and home of the legendary. Cocoa Beach. It's still cool. Your beach vacation begins at gococobeach.com.
USSSA is the stage where the nation's top sports stars shine for the country to see. On the diamond, the top baseball players are looking to be chosen by the Select 30 and compete as a team at the National Amateur Baseball Championships. In Fast Pitch, USA Elite Select and the World Fast Pitch Championships brings together premier players and teams from across the country to play for the title and continue their dream of one day playing professional softball. While Nationwide Conference USSSA hosts the stars of slow pitch softball. Take your game to the next level. Play the best. Play USSSA.
Bottom of the second inning, Men's Major World Series. 5-5 score. Time now to meet for the first time tonight. Third member of our team down on the field tonight will be Jade Smith. Jade?
Thanks, Bernie. I got some insight from the head coach from Backman, and he said that they will not be satisfied unless they leave here tonight with 2 more wins. I asked him how the guys are feeling going from this entire day playing 3 games, and he said they're feeling good and positive going into this game.
Thank you, Jade. And you think about this as a Backman team. I don't think that anybody gets to this game in the championship game and leaves satisfied with a second-place trophy, even though you're talking about getting through the biggest tournament in slow pitch softball and finishing second.
Yeah,
you get that. Probably the same thing when you finish runner-up at the Super Bowl. Nobody's celebrating the runner-up win.
And sometimes it's hard to put it in perspective. And like a couple of years ago, Taylor made that great run back through as I believe they were the 17th seed or 16th seed, and they came all the way back through. And I'm sure a week later they're like, wow, we did something. But if you're one of these 2 teams, this is your whole season. This is it. There isn't a AA or an A World to play in. This is what you're playing for. And their head coach Dow Beggs now that's how he is. He's an absolute pure gamer. Always has been. He's won this tournament with Dan Smith with the Rosmondo teams of the past. He's a Hall of Fame player. We talked about it last night in the broadcast for those who were with us. Took over this team halfway through the year. He took over a team that was #1 in points. It was kind of a controversial move that Jerry Backman made when he made the move to insert Dow Beggs into the lineup, as the manager. And it's hard to argue it. It's paid off. Here they are, in the championship game. But I think they've kind of taken on his demeanor, which is what Dow was. Hard-nosed, scrappy. He likes to be the underdog. He actually, I think, prefers this.
Play it.
Big Neil Hagelin. And he's been a great comeback. He broke his arm in a freak accident last year up playing for Team USSSA, a couple of all-star teams that went up to the PIF, a phenomenal tournament in Canada in front of a big crowd. And on a routine play, just slipped and fell and broke his arm. Had to have plates put in.
Look at that heads-up play. They get the lead runner at second base. Kind of a major league shift on, if you will.
Yeah. Again, this is what happens when these teams know each other so well. And again, we've got that short porch over there. You're expecting Kennington you're expecting Neil to pull the ball there. He's going to try to get up out here and gets quick. Great play. And great hustle by Kevin Kennington on top of it.
And now with 2 outs, Jeremy Yates pops up, and look at this. Smash It Sports working their way back in this contest. They were down by 5. They tie it up and they blank Backman shop. We are moving on here at the Men's Major World Series to the 3rd inning. We got a good one between the top 2 teams.
How did I get there? I played against the best.
How did I get there? I challenged myself.
How did I get there? I raised my level of competition.
USA Elite Select. Your legacy starts here.
Top of the 3rd inning, 5-5 score. Smashed it back to the plate. Another big opportunity after they were blank back in the 1st inning. And you think about it, again, pitching is such a huge part in baseball. Obviously, it goes without saying that if you're going to win the World Series, you got to have great pitching. But you think about these guys, you think about the ability and the way they hit the ball, but pitching is still a real big key in slow pitch softball as well.
At this level, it's the absolute biggest key. There's no difference. It's the most important part on player on the field, from a leadership characteristics, from how you set your D to how you pitch to it. There's no difference.
Right on the back of it.
And we've seen that with a great the great Andy Purcell, who, the shock of this tournament is we're not here calling Rosmondo.
Right.
I believe they finished 5th in the tournament, and I think that's probably the lowest finish of a Rosmondo team in 15 years or so. I don't know exactly that, but going back, you look at like we've talked about how many they've won. They've been the perennial favorite and champion, and they've only lost 2 since 2007 or 6. And, I expect them to reload, fix a couple of things, and probably come back and be everybody's preseason pick to be in the #1 spot. But a good part of their run, the common denominator has been Andy Purcell on the mound. And he's been the great difference maker in that entire run. And it's something every person in this conference would agree on. Most of us don't agree on a lot, but we all agree that he is the greatest pitcher of all time. And in most cases, I think a lot of us have now come to conclude he may be the greatest player of all time.
Scott Kirby with a line out to Jeremy Yates. It's one of the big upgrades that Backman's gotten in the offseason is the fielders. Such a big part, obviously, of helping out the pitchers. You got to field the ball cleanly.
Well, and they didn't have Andy Binczak last year, and he's one of the 2 or 3 best up-and-coming pitchers in the game. He's kind of reached that, and they went a different direction last year and came back to him. They went out during the offseason and made a deal to bring him back. And it's made a big difference with them.
Brett Helmer, this is what he does. Trying to get over Helmer's wall. Comes up short of the second wall, but still hits it 416 feet and gets a big bear hug.
And he is the all-time leader in home runs at the Major World Series. And you can see why, the big man out of New York, Cicero, New York.
He can really generate the exit velocity as well, 109 miles an hour off the bat, Flight Scope says.
Play it.
Cal Pearson, he's had MVP-like numbers, as we talked about at this World Series. Just a hit machine, isn't he?
113 miles an hour. I obviously haven't been here for every game, Bernie, but every game I've been around, he has had the leader in the clubhouse number in ball exit speed.
That's about as high as it goes. We've seen a couple of 115, 116, but there's not a whole lot of people that we're seeing get over that 110 threshold.
Right.
And his average is going to climb from 904 on base percentage when we started this inning to obviously whatever the math would be, but when you're getting on base 9 out of 10 times, it's very good.
That's super. That's super.
Travis Clark into the teeth of the wind and gone.
And this is one of those things too right now, like Jade, when she interviewed Dal in between games, the coach of Backman, Dal Beggs, he said, hey, we're here to win 2. To win 2, you need one of them to be easy. And obviously, you're not going to get a shot at the second one unless you can get this first one. They don't need to dig themselves out of a hole here. They need to stop this right now, get back out in front, because they definitely, with what they've gone through today, I don't think they can afford to dig themselves out of a 15-run lead or 16-run lead, leave it all out there, then come back and win another one.
Play it.
Kevin Philby into the corner. And that one leaves the yard as well. And that's one thing, at slow pitch softball, the ball really starts to fly as it cools down.
Yeah, as the temperature comes down, the actual compression of the ball will actually increase. When you hear a compression on a ball, it's typically set at an ambient temperature of 68 degrees. And so as the temperature comes down, it'll go up. And then that's a real good spin there from Phil. But also, that's the short porch. You can see the cut back in there. If that's a left-handed hitter and he hits that identical same ball, it's coming up short, but it's not his fault they built the park this way. He's taking advantage of it. And there's big 99 Dirty Dal Bags right there, breaking down how this is going to work out.
Sometimes this is the key, just to try to slow down that momentum.
I think what he's showing him here is I want you to get a little hump on it right there. We saw a couple of interviews like that. Get it up a little bit. Try to get him, change it up a little bit.
Hey. Daly, I know you like this song and all, but we can't listen to the whole thing.
They do have some fun, don't they?
They do.
Hey, that's your one for the inning.
And how does that help you as a pitcher when you get that high arc to?
Well, you try to change it up. Sometimes up is easier to hit, but if you're working down and they're wearing it out right now, sometimes you just want to float one out there and see what we can get. It's a bigger part of the yard too. So sometimes if you float one out a little bit, you know that you've got to go 430 feet to get it out of here or something, or you know, it's just you're trying to get them out and Buddy. And there he goes. You know, that's exactly what he did. He went up and worked to see if he could get him to go fishing a little bit.
First pitch called back for a ball. Just 2 balls given before you could walk, and that one put into play, and that's going to be
whatever he said was
another
good
out.
Advice. And I think that takes us to about 90% on coaches calling timeout and following it up with an out.
So 2 away with 5 in here in the 3rd inning of 7 innings that they play here in this championship game. And Umshide is the batter.
Play it.
Umshide with a line drive base hit out to left field, a long turn. Time is called.
Umshide blasts the ball through the infield for a single, and now the batter, the shortstop, 2013 All-World selection, Kevin Bazan.
We got
Kevin Bazat.
We got a text in here, Bernie, that says thermal cooling. I apologize, I don't know whose number I have in my phone. Thermal cooling from the earth also increases lift. That's going a little too far for Bernie and I, folks.
And sometimes when you can get up, you got one that's almost lifted out of the ballpark that gets pulled back in, as we just saw there. A nice little play by Neil Haglund out in right field to end the inning, but not before Smash It Sports with another big inning. They've got 5 on the board. Let's take another look at this catch by Neil Haglund to retire the side.
With Direct Points Daily, your vacation begins at GoMelbourneFlorida.com.
Dudley. Quality, consistency, durability.
It's the bottom of the 3rd of the Men's Major World Series. Burning up their Don Cooper and Jade Smith with you under the lights here at ESPN's Wide World of Sports. Ryan Stovall leading off the inning. He is trucking around. He's got some wheels, and he heads to 3rd.
Now stepping into the box will be the catcher, Ryan Harvey. Ryan singled and scored in the 1st.
We saw some absolute monsters from him last night, Bernie, in the home run derby from Mr. Ryan Harvey.
Yeah, actually 3 that went over the wall. Maybe you could call it 2.5. I mean, the one hit the top,
right?
The golden ball at the top. So obviously that one was sailing over if it wasn't for that golden ball getting in the way. And he is Headed again out of the yard.
431 feet, the right center field. Slow ball's going up. I knew you'd have done that. I just stopped it first and saved a little bit of energy.
Orlando, a 2-run home run, his first at bat.
Play it.
Orlando Castillo, as you see another look at the Ryan Harvey home run, and Castillo now is going to lift this one out to Wegman out of left field. We saw Wegman, by the way, make a catch over the fence to end the game to move Smash It Sports on earlier in the day. So that's a little drama for you.
Yeah.
In our winners bracket final.
Outstanding defensive player. And like we talked about at the onset of the broadcast, everyone talks about the home runs and the offense, but the athleticism and the defense here is just amazing.
Base hit for Stephen Lloyd with a long turn. Backman, not only do they need to win this game, but they need to win both if they're going to be the Men's Major World Series champions. Deep fly ball to center. Play made for the second out.
Great hustle by Stephen Lloyd to get into second base, and Stephen Lloyd's one of the big acquisitions that Backman made this year, coming over from the Smash It team.
Smash It would start to still be feeling pretty good if they can end this inning still on top by 3. Again, when you're the visiting team, a little more pressure on you to make sure you stay out in front, especially as it gets late in the contest. And that kind of knuckled down, took a funny finish, and Brian Wegman somehow able to make that play and retire the side. Brian Wegman looked like it hit him right in the gut.
For those who serve. For those who protect. For those who save. For those who have sacrificed.
The Heroes Tour is dedicated to you.
Smash It Sports in the lead by 3. Big reason why Travis Clark, their pitcher, he has been very good so far in this tournament. For more on him, speaking once again with Jade Smith down to the field. Jade.
Thanks, Bernie. I spoke with Travis Clark and asked him how he separates being a pitcher and a hitter, and he says controlling his emotions always helps because he plays so passionately, but the biggest thing is keeping in perspective that he does everything for his teammates, because if it wasn't for them, he wouldn't be here. Bernie?
And you know, Coop, you think about these teams, they're such great camaraderie, and one of the things that I get the honor to do every year is to talk to the athletes when it's their Hall of Fame video induction. And you know, I guess something that's a little odd about the USSSA Hall of Fame is some of the players are still playing and some of the players are former players, but every one of the former players, you know, they always talk about the friendship and the camaraderie. That's what they miss the most about playing this game day in and day out.
Absolutely, and we talked about that a little, some last night. Great hustle out of the box there. One of the reasons I think we've seen the women's program flourish and grow so much is as the Division 1, 2, and 3 fast pitch has grown and travel fast pitch has grown, they don't want to give it up. They want that camaraderie. They want to travel together. They want to have teammates. And we're seeing an explosion in the women's game like that. And the same thing is true here in the men's game. You love it. You love being on the road with these guys. You're away from your families, but this is your extended family for 13, 14 weekends a year.
Westy Gull into center. It falls for a base hit for Bryson Baker, and smash it. They had a rough start. No runs in the first inning, but they got 10 combined runs in the last two.
Yeah, like I said, we talked about it. I always think the team that's coming to the losers bracket has an inning or two advantage to go. And for Backman, they went, but I don't know if they went far enough right now. And we'll see. We'll see if attrition starts factoring in here a little bit. And as Smash It gets, every out that goes away, an inning gets closer. They start sensing this and feeling it, and they had a struggle all year. I mean, like I said, this is going to be the one weekend that it all matters. They've been banged up and hurt, and this guy right here in the box, who's their horse, who missed a good portion of the season. And Wegg's going to go out in the right center gap, see if it rolls all the way to the wall. Logan cuts it off nicely, saves a run for a moment. But he was beat up all summer, Bernie, and when he came back, it all kind of seemed to flip. Scott Kirby was missing the beginning part of the season. He came back. They made some adjustments to their roster this year. Westy Gull in center field wasn't who was in center field when the season started. They made a couple of bench moves to have a little more depth on the bench, and we saw that this weekend that you need that down here. I think a couple of the other big clubs maybe were short a piece or two as the heat and the weather took its toll, as some injuries took its toll. So both of these organizations, I think, made great moves, throughout the season to get themselves here.
This is Scott Kirby. Takes a called strike.
And he was on a part-time kind of role this year with some things, and we've heard this week that he is going to come back next year for a full season, and he's a guy that's capable of being an MVP of the conference.
Because it was obviously surprising to see Smash It Sports, a team that, historically it has been Rismondo, Smash It, back and forth. This is the team that won the regular season last year to finish fourth in the conference. That was a little surprising.
And I think it was a little bit with some stuff.
Not good on the infield there. Kirby beats it out on what was an error.
And Orlando's just a sweet fielding middle infielder. And again, I think this is where your feet are a little bit heavy, your hands are a little bit, you've been out here since 8 o'clock this morning playing straight through. You've had a little break, but yeah, but I think there's the injuries and some stuff like that. But hey, let's not shortchange what the scene did this year, what a lot of the other teams did as well, that has created such parity right now. And people say, here's these two teams. Well, these two teams have a lot of young players on them that nobody talked about. Find the hole down there and see the big man from Cicero, New York, run around a little bit, or maybe I'll throw the brakes on.
Look at Brett Helmer, though, putting together quite a series.
And so I think it's also the parity is set in a little bit, Bernie, to say who's going to be. It's not a guaranteed one, a guaranteed two anymore, right?
Right.
And we've got, even though we saw this weekend, the 3rd Street team I thought had a phenomenal weekend. The Combat team to come through here and take fourth with all the ups and downs they've had this year, and played Backman to a 1-run game earlier this morning, or I guess this afternoon. Here comes Dal Beggs out again. We may set a record this weekend for manager timeouts. So I think there's a lot of things that are going into this, and like I said, I think it'll be easy to pick Rismondo as number 1 when the season starts, because that's kind of what you do. But you just don't know anymore, which is great for the sport.
Well, I got a chance to talk to Billy Messina in between games. They won, obviously, the winners bracket final, so they're sitting pretty. There he is, number 8 on the left side of your screen, and he was congratulating Don DiDonatis, the CEO of USSSA, and obviously he really helped set the pace with the conference, saving the major level of softball. Just about how much parity there was at the Major World Series. Probably said this has had the most parity of any that he can remember in a long time.
I've been coming here for a long, long time in one aspect or the other, and this is the most. And they're right. We were we were down to this level dying off, and it was dying off on the women's level. It had gone away, and now we're back to 170-plus women's team just in Disney alone. The men's major with the 1 to 10 or 12 teams that can. The 3rd Street with a monster upset a couple nights ago against Rosmondo. Both of these teams, having to come through and have clutch wins late in games to keep it alive. Heck, Rosmondo could have not made it to the day. It wasn't an epic comeback last night against a super game line drive team that prevented them to even get here and have a chance today. So, yeah, to say it's parity and is an understatement, and I think it's a compliment to not only what USSSA has done, how they've set it up, how they've locked the rosters and made it so you can go out and find guys and keep them, but it's also to the organizations and the sponsors that want to step up and they want to chase this. Here's the big man. This could be a large blow.
Here's one of your potential MVP candidates if Smash Hits to walk away with the men's major title. Kyle Pearson.
He missed it, but he's the world's strongest man.
Oh, wow. It's unbelievable because, again, that one just gets off the bat at 99 miles an hour, but he just almost just powers his way through.
He spun it right up out of here. That's the case. Like you see him right there, kind of guy. So sometimes it's good to me. You watch this swing here. He's going to spin this, going to get just the bottom half, right out a little bit down the barrel, but thank the Lord for spin. Game effort out there to try to bring it back too by Jeremy Yates. That's a big blow, especially because we got no outs. Right now, if you're Smash It, you're trying to make that first number a 2 and tell Backman this thing's over. You had a heck of a run. Give us our rings.
Travis Clark out of the ballpark. Smash It, a solo home run. 7 here in the 4th inning. Here's some youngsters, some future slow pitch stars enjoying time out on the hill.
And you talk about things that go on these teams and the stuff that goes on. And I think earlier today I got a couple of texts about who was the big guy coaching first for Team Combat this weekend, Bernie. His name's David Hunter, and he has ran a team called the Combatants up in Seattle. And about this time a year ago, he was diagnosed with terminal cancer, they were told us. So I called him and said, I'll make you a deal. I don't believe you have terminal cancer. I think you're going to beat this. He'd never been to, great swing by Flip into the corner. Going to be a double. And I said, if you beat this, you're not only going to go to the Worlds in Disney, I'm going to take you. I'll pick up the tab because you got enough going on. You're going to go there and beat. Your first trip here is going to be with a major team.
Wow.
And so for us this weekend, just, one, you kind of put some things in perspective. Here's a young man who served his country, was many years in the Coast Guard, went through some battles, chemotherapy all winter long, and would send us weekly updates. Each night he'd have a Team Combat shirt on as he went into chemotherapy. And for him to get to come to Disney, and halfway through the treatment, he finds out his wife has cancer. So she's going through the same thing right now, wearing a Team Combat jersey. And that's the kind of people you meet traveling around with these teams, and the guys coming up and swinging the product that you're swinging. And there's a lot of stories like that. We can see, maybe we can get Jade to talk to the Backman folks down there, or get a little backstory on the LH on their jerseys. And I think most people know the national story, and you can see it right there on the front of them. And it was an ESPN national story for many times about that young lady, and she's real close to their sponsors' heart and families and friends. And so there's a lot that goes on with these teams that are that way, I think, Bernie, that you get to see it because you're around so many of us. That to me, that's the best part of this stuff is things like that you can do.
Well, they're going to make a pitching change here. A 17-7 lead, smashed on top by 10. And the dangerous thing here, as you see Buddy Wolf at the plate, is that in a real quick moment.
Running away. Heck of an effort by Mr. Yates out there.
You love the effort by Yates.
Uh-oh. Big man's
going
for
inside
4.
The park. Here comes Buddy Wolf, throw off line, and an inside the park home run for Buddy Wolf, hustling the entire way.
Yeah, and you know, we're getting into a danger territory real quick. Young Lewicki that came into pitch here, he was on late season, right at our roster freeze deadline pickup off of a team out of Minnesota to give him some pitching, and here he is pitching in a must-win game in the Major World Series. But he wasn't sure if he wanted to slide, fall down, what he wanted to do there at the end. Anyway, you count it, it's a home run.
So Mike Umscheid.
And the championship game, Brandon, we're a ways away from it, but we should maybe let our viewers know the run rule is in effect in championship play.
Mike Umscheid knocked down on the infield, and that's a big out. Believe it or not, that's the first out. So you'd say pretty productive when you could score 9 runs in an inning before you see an out retired.
They take the trade out right now, another 9 on 1 out.
Kevin Bazat. Lined into right field. There's another base hit. Westy Gull.
Another late season pickup here for them. He came over mid-season to shore up the outfield, and talking to Brett Helmer about it, he said, hey, he brings us enough offense, but we really need to shore up our center field defense. And last night, he wore it out offensively on top of it, as well as made some great defensive plays. So if you can get that out of him, it's a win-win-win-win-win.
Westy Gold, high pop fly, it's caught. We can hear over the loudspeaker just a warning that a storm system potentially is approaching Champion Stadium. They're all about player safety here at ESPN Wide World of Sports.
Right, and they'll have,
as of course USSSA is.
They'll have sensors that go off and tell us if there's a lightning strike in a certain radius of the facility, and if there is, they will pull everybody off the field. And sometimes it can be a little frustrating as a player or a coach, because you'll look up and it's a beautiful clear sky, but ooh, little lightning strike there. It's going to hook foul, I think, though, and it does off of BB's bat. It's a little frustrating because you'll see a perfect clear sky, but there's lightning off a mile away or whatnot, and
right.
So player safety is what it is. But Backman may want a delay right now. They may want to call a timeout. Start over, mulligan.
No mulligatanis in.
Mulligatani.
Slow pitch softball, Bryson Baker. This one is going to hold up just enough for Yates to come in and make the play and retire the side. But what an inning for Spashit Sports. They have a gigantic lead, up by 12. Backman back to the plate, trying to find some answers here at the Men's Major World Series as Smash It looks to be this year's champions.
Three experiences to have in one trip. Go Titusville.com.
1, 2, 3, baby! Oh, boy, let's go. Not Mike!
It's the culmination of a summer softball, the Men's Major World Series here from ESPN's Worlds Sports. As we begin things here in the bottom of the fourth, let's check in once again down on the field with Jade Smith. Jade?
Thanks, Bernie. I spoke with the leading batting average of the World Series, Kyle Pearson, and asked him what his secret was. He said that all he does is try to stay within himself and find the biggest hole on the field. Also, to help him prepare is to focus on throwing his hips while he's on deck. Thanks, Bernie.
Thank you, Jade.
Well, whatever he's doing, Bernie, it works.
Almost got hit. I think I was still live on that.
Yeah.
That's the challenges sometimes of being the sideline reporter. You got to try to do your best to stay out of the way of some of the balls.
Gets us to the leadoff hitter, Lee Powers. Ooh. See if it'll hold up. Weggs is running out of real estate.
Oh, he almost tracked in another. It's a big home run because Backman, they're starting to run out of outs. It's not quite there yet, but 15 after 5 innings, it's each inch closer.
And again, you know, if you come back and win this one, if you're Backman, you're here to win it all, but you're going to get yourself in a spot where you've got to dig out of a huge hole, and then how much energy do you got left to make another run at it?
Kevin Kennington at the plate.
It's a miss. Maybe it's not a miss. It sure sounded like one.
Wow. I'd like to miss it off the scoreboard.
Yeah, well, that had that sound with KK that he missed that from up here. 20.8 launch angle, which is lower than normal. That's probably why we had that, but the spin was on point. 414 feet of carry at 103.4 mile an hour exit speed. 94.1 feet.
And of course, it probably would have carried a little bit further if that gigantic scoreboard didn't get in the way, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that was an interesting. That normally didn't have that click that you hear with him, and the advantage of spin. Rolled over. It'll be a foot race to the bag.
And Hagelin is retired.
Kyle Pearson saying, hey, I'm doing it on one side, I'm doing it on the other. Bernie, I want that MVP. What he really wants is one more win this season.
And on the flip side, Jeremy Yates wants 2 more.
Into the gap.
Both these teams very similar, both with some really good young players, both with some power. Typically, obviously, at the major level, that's what you expect, that you're going to see some people that can really swing it.
Yeah, and I think most of us coming into the season kind of tipped our hat to Backman to have the most power. You know, when you've got Ryan Harvey and Kevin Kennington and you know, Ryan Stovall kind of came out of nowhere on the scene with never-ending power, and we knew what Lee Powers had. So I think you know, we kind of felt they were the team that had the most power. We got a shot here at third.
Safe and on the corners with 1 away.
The one thing that Smash had was that left-handed power that we've talked so much here.
Right.
With Philby and Helmer in the lineup there, and even Bazat. So you know, that was one of the things that, you know, they had that experienced left-handed power here, and as we've seen with Pearson, can go anywhere at any time.
Here's Ryan Harvey. He missed it.
He did.
And not tagging there from shallow right.
Not even as well as Mr. Yates runs.
Orlando Castillo.
This is a big at bat right here, Bernie. They just kind of keep chunking it. They've cut it down to 10. They'd really like to get this to single digits, obviously, but I think there's a mental thing, too, when you look up at the scoreboard and you're in single digits, and they're going to get there.
Castillo, base hit. Got him where you said?
Yeah, I mean,
now with 3 in the inning.
I realize that 10 and 9 aren't that different, but there's just something about it that just feels different when you're in that dugout looking up there.
Stephen Lloyd now.
And again, because of the first place finish in the season, regular season standings, the home team here, it's a big advantage right now.
Ground ball, they flip it over to second. And Backman does a little work, but overall in the inning, smash hit is +6.
They'll take that.
It's a 19-10 lead as we carry our way onto the 5th here at the Men's Major World Series on MLB.com from ESPN's Wide World of Sports.
I'm Maureen Chamberlain, first baseman for the USSSA Pride. I really like to feel good when I swing. I don't like to overcomplicate things. So I find myself often just hitting into a bone net, visualizing what I want to do, and then taking that with me on the field. Even on an off day, I love to get some hacks in. When I have a quick 30 minutes, the bow net is super easy to set up. I grab my bat, a bucket of balls, and I swing until I feel good. Bow net, play anywhere, play now.
It's the 5th inning. Smash It leading by 9 here. Join the conversation. Hashtag Men's Major on Facebook and Twitter. And a great week of softball here. Really a great summer of action. Some great games all around the country.
We got a few hundred more teams showing up here next weekend to fight for that E-World title down here. And then week off in the Mixed Major World Series, the final major of the year, along with all the other levels of the mixed program. Another couple hundred teams will make the trek to Disney Wide World of Sports, and this could be our last major we broadcast from here, Bernie.
It's possible. It's been a set of so many good ones over the years, a long run here. One of the reasons why USSSA moved their headquarters to Kissimmee after the great relationship with Disney, and I think the players over the years have really enjoyed getting a chance to play here at the Walt Disney World Resort.
I think we have. I agree, and it's been a great setting, but just with the expansion of the worlds and how many teams are coming, and really what a lot of the asks are, I get to see a lot of what's in the sponsors meetings, not only at the conference level but at the women's level, the ask and the things that the players and the teams would like to see, and it's going to be possible at the new facility because it will be a U-Trip only facility.
That's correct.
They will control it. So, we may see these 3 or 4 weeks turned into 5 or 6, I've heard rumor, to shrink the number of teams down and maybe showcase more of the teams. A long run out there on the left for Mr. Yates.
So Kirby's retired, from a USSSA standpoint, obviously, if you spread it out over the course of 6 weeks, it gives U-Trip the ability to showcase a lot more of the games. It's obviously difficult when you have the men's major here and you have the women's and you have the C all at the same point to give them all the type of attention that you probably like to give them.
Right, and if you come down here and see the inner workings behind this, the amount of staff that's here, just the umpires, but the folks running around on carts and trying to give the players the right feeling, and you never see everybody happy. you'd like to get everybody on the show field for every single game, and it's not possible when you bring 700 teams down over a 3-week period of time. But I think it's a lot of the things that are being discussed and looked at, and it's exciting times. I don't know if we can get a shot or not where he's at, but the CEO of USSSA is standing outside of the Atlanta Braves owners booth over here, and obviously taking in the game tonight, and I'm sure will hand deliver the trophy as he normally does to the Men's Major World Series champion.
Helmer with a 2-run home run, and Smash It is hoping that it may be Brett Helmer that raises the Men's Major World Series trophy.
No, we just lost it. Nicely done, nicely done.
Kyle Pearson at the plate.
And we'll see here. A lot of the talk online tonight, Bernie, is this the best hitter in the game? I'm not ready to say that yet. I love the kid to death. I think he's an incredible talent, and I've said over the last year the best young power hitter that comes, but win a couple of these, and maybe if he wins a Major World Series MVP this weekend, that sets him down that path. It's not a knock on him. There's some great players and great hitters out there, and that right there, is an absolute bomb if it stays fair, and it does.
Fair ball home run, Kyle Pearson. And Smash It's putting it together once again. He very well may be the MVP of this Men's Major World Series. A 4-for-4 night in the championship. You just can't get this guy out.
Can't. Be an interesting stat D-Dub may be able to find from softballcenter.com, one of the stat guys, is he may be the youngest. He'd be in the hunt to be the youngest MVP ever, I would think. Not a piece of knowledge I pack around with me, but I've been here a while, and he would definitely have to, I think, be in the hunt right there.
Travis Clark.
I think he's going to come up just short. I bet for sure he would be the least amount of at-bats at the Major World Series, I would think, unless there was somebody kind of back that predates before we moved to stadium ball that won one when the teams kind of rotate a little more before we moved it. But at Disney, I would have to imagine he would have the least amount of at-bats, which says a lot for his future. And this is a young man that won a couple of A titles before he was 21 years old, Kevin Philby, as a pitcher. They'd like to push this out to 15. Put the run rule in play, even if it just, force Backman to score. We've seen it before. Blanks come in those spots. Sometimes you press, but just keep putting the pressure on them. They'd like to find a way to chip 3 more on the board here. Philby's going to try to get him 1.
No hit by pitch in slow pitch softball.
No.
And Kevin Philby rips that one back through the middle, off the bat at 102 miles an hour. And they're staying alive. Hanson's going to come in and run for Philby.
They'll probably stay in and play defense. That's a kind of a traditional move they will make. Young Mr. Hanson out of Las Vegas is a defensive specialist.
Buddy Wolf checking into the box.
Another guy that's made a heck of a run at saying, give me a MVP too. From what I've seen, I haven't seen every one of their games, but the ones I've seen, he has had some clutch at bats, made some great plays. Of course, he had an inside the Parker a little bit ago.
He's going to draw base on balls. That'll bring Upshine to the plate. And if you're Backman chop here, you got to get out of the inning because actually a home run here will put Backman down to their final 3 outs potentially.
Right, that's what you just want to put the pressure on them. Not that a solo doesn't keep the dream alive, but just make them pressure field at bats right now. They're more than they already are. Again, you're in the driver's seat. They got to come get you twice. Make it as hard as possible.
And they're going to get the ground ball over.
Great
to
hustle.
Hanson
They called him safe.
Out. Oh, wow.
I think he was safe. Let's see. That was great hustle.
I love the hustle. The umpires are going to talk things over.
See what we can get here.
It's really tough to tell from that
angle where that hand is.
Yeah, just to see where his
doesn't
right
look like
hand
you can see him step back. I think what he showed the umpire was when Orlando steps back, I think he was telling the ump, hey, I'm not on the bag yet. He may have been, but you know, that's a little subtleties that those umps look for.
That's true.
And as he steps back, I think he was telling him, hey, I'm not on the bag.
Maybe we can get a little better view from our game high home camera. And obviously you're a little bit further away.
And you see how he steps back? I think he's safe. I don't think he ever had possession of the ball when he went back. If he would have just left his foot on the ground.
And now Dal Beggs, after the umpires get together, he's going to try to slow this thing down even more. With the bases loaded, this is a big spot right now.
It's huge. And Bayes had a lefty. You know, he's not a typical power hitter lefty, but again, this park's playing small tonight. He is a lefty. Looks like we're in another look, Bernie.
It does really look like, oh no.
It looks like he's off, he's there. He's not touching it.
Yep.
And then I think what the umps.
Look at the separation, about an inch.
Yep, great view right there from our crew. And then you see him slide back, and I think that's what the ump saw. Great call out there. And I think we have, is that Chuck Beckwell at second base? The second base umpire, I believe.
Kevin Bazat with the bases loaded here.
And this is his at bat of his season right here. They'll take anything. Just roll this over to the Hall of Famer.
Play it. No.
First pitch missed a ball.
He'll take a walk, a bloop, a blunder, an error. He'll take anything right now, Bernie. He'll take that for sure.
That ball
that's going to spin right up out of here.
A grand slam home run. Wow.
And if you're in the smash it dugout right now, you're feeling it, you're tasting it. You're trying to stay a little bit under control right now. Brett Helmer's blood pressure is through the roof.
Play it.
Logan's going to make a run.
Got a catch.
But not before a big number put up by Smash It Sports. They score 7 more. And Backman, they're going to need 2 just to find their way out of the inning to the 6th. Kevin Bazat with a grand slam home run. It's 26-10. Smash It trying to bring back the men's major championship.
I'm Lauren Chamberlain, first baseman for the USSSA Pride. I really like to feel good when I swing. I don't like to overcomplicate things. So I find myself often just hitting into a bow net, visualizing what I want to do, and then taking that with me on the field. Even on an off day, I love to get some hacks in. When I have a quick 30 minutes, the bow net is super easy to set up. I grab my bat, a bucket of balls, and I swing until I feel good. Bow net, play anywhere, play now.
Bottom of the 5th of the Men's Major World Series. And Backman potentially down to their final 3 outs of this year's season. They need to score 2 runs to bring us to the 6th. So this is still well within their range, obviously, because this is a team that can put 11 up. They could put 16 up in this inning to tie it potentially.
Absolutely.
But if they're going to go, they need to go now. And that's not the start you wanted. Fly ball out to left on the first pitch, and Brian Logan.
I wouldn't be surprised
is retired.
This is a tough call right here because this is their pitcher that came in. If you hit for him right now, he's burned. He can't re-enter. It's a tough call for Dow. He's got some power on the bench over there. But again, he's playing to win, so he's going to trust him to get a hit and Powers to hit the 2-run home run.
Pitch called a strike. This one is going to be a foul.
Wow.
They're down to their final out, but this has been a special season for Backman. Shot for more on that. Let's check in once again with Jade.
Thanks, Bernie. A touching story for Team Backman and the owner, Jerry Backman himself, about a girl that won over Jerry Backman's heart once he became family friends. Jerry and the team supported her after the doctors found a brain tumor after thinking that she had a concussion from a collision playing basketball. Her name and number is on the jerseys tonight, and they've been there this entire season, and they've been playing on her behalf.
Thank you, Jade. And Lauren Hill, obviously, in the minds of this team. And Backman's had a really great season. They find themselves down to their final out now in this year's championship because there's 2 away. And Lee Powers popped up and Smash It Sports. They're the major champions.
Wow. Enjoy the celebration.
What a win. Look at those faces. Look at the smiles. A huge win tonight. What a tournament for Smash It Sports. The major champions. We talked about it. You know, it's funny because at the conference championship we said you got to keep an eye on Smash It Sports because they finished 4th in the regular season. They're finally healthy. They could be a dark horse in this year's championship, and they proved to be a lot more than that.
Absolutely. Like I said, once they got healthy and they had that experience, the top 4 guys in that order have all felt this before. They had all won this before. They were actually deeper with guys with rings, you know, kind of in key positions than Backman was, and it showed through tonight. Great run by Backman and Jerry Backman's organization, how hard they worked all year long. There's, you know, it's heartbreaking for them right now, but finishing second here is a heck of an achievement.
26-10, the final score. What a moment for Brett Helmer, Brian Wegman, some of these guys that have worked so hard, and obviously that overall
you can see a hug
they put together.
Hug there by Jerry Backman with Brian Wegman, who both live in Ohio and are very close personal friends, do a lot of business during the off season. And, you know, that's a neat thing to see right there, where a guy that's put his heart and his soul and, quite frankly, a lot of his money into this, but still wants to get out there and enjoy it for a moment with a guy that he respects. 2 old teammates right there that are both coaches now.
Jade Smith waiting to talk with this year's champion. Still plenty of hugs for these guys. I think Kyle Pearson very well may be your MVP, the guy that was almost impossible to get out, but we're going to have to wait a little bit of time to find out who is the MVP. Now this year's Major World Series.
There were some outstanding performances by multiple players there.
What a win. What a moment for Smash It Sports, celebrating this major championship.
You see all the hardware coming out on the field there. Those guys can't hardly wait to get their hands on it.
And what a weekend it was. What a tournament it was for Kyle Pearson. He was almost impossible to get out, and he is down with Jade Smith. Jade?
Thanks, Bernie. First of all, congratulations on winning tonight. Can you tell me just your overall thoughts about win the championship game tonight?
I can't put it into words. It's awesome. A group of guys that never let up, and we were never picked from the beginning, and we just had to get healthy at the right time, and we did, and we came through as a team.
We talked a little bit about your secrets and what helps you throughout the year to be so good. Can you talk about your performance throughout this entire regular season and tonight as well?
I just try to do the same thing every time. Get up there, try to pick a hole, and go through that hole and go hard. And it's a team effort. It's a team effort. Guys get on base in front of you, behind you. We did it as a team.
All right, well, go celebrate with your teammates, and good luck. I mean, congratulations, you're done. You don't need any luck. But back to you, Bernie.
Thank you, Jade. Kyle Pearson, a big night, and what a win. What a tournament it was, and what a special season. Slow pitch softball, probably one of the best men's major World Series that we've witnessed in recent history.
I agree. When you look at who came through and the top 4 teams and the parity there, and a couple of the other teams that 3rd Street and so forth, the runs they put on, I think it's awesome. It bodes well for the future. Bodes really well for the future of the conference. I don't think we could have asked for much more than what we got.
Well, that's going to do it for our coverage this year of the USSSA Men's Major World Series. Smash It Sports, a winner 26-10. If you want to watch the trophy presentation, tune in on USSSAlive.com, where they will award the winners trophies and MVPs. But for now, for Don Cooper, Jade Smith, and our entire crew, I'm Bernie Gunther. Good night from Champion Stadium, and congratulations to Smash It Sports, this year's Men's Major champions.
We would now ask that you draw your attention to the home plate area here at beautiful Champion Stadium inside the ESPN Wide World of Sports. It is now our pleasure to bring you the awards ceremony for the 2016 USSSA Men's Major World Series. It's been 4 days of outstanding softball action, capped by some great games today, and we have crowned a new champion. So we're going to get this awards presentation underway without any further ado so we can beat the incoming weather in the area. Let's begin by presenting the award to the second place team. They entered as the number 1 seed. They finish with a record of 5-2. Ladies and gentlemen, let's have a nice round of applause for this year's runner-up, Backman, Louisville Slugger. So our tournament director, Mr. Elliot Clark, presenting the award to the representatives of Backman. He's joined by our assistant tournament director, Strode and Kennison. There's an impressive piece of hardware to take home, a representation of an impressive year of softball. Let's have one last round of applause for Backman, Louisville Slugger. And now I would like to introduce you to the individual members of your 2016 World Series champions. They are Smash It Sports. Gentlemen, when I call your name, please come forward. Bryson Baker, Brian Wegman, Scott Kirby, Brett Helmer, Kyle Pearson, Travis Clark, Kevin Philby, Buddy Wolf, Mike Umscheid, Kevin Bizat, Brad Reckert, Wes Stegwill, Chris Hansen, Jason Williams, Stephen Gentry, and their coach Billy Messina. And Pete Campbell is here with us tonight as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Smash It Sports. And I certainly don't want to forget Mr. Bob Hortenbach, who is here with us tonight as well. So ladies and gentlemen, this is your 2016 World Series champions, Smash It Sports. And now if we could have representatives of Smash It come forward to accept their 2016 World Series Championship trophy. All right. So again, congratulations to the members of Smash It Sports. The big trophy for the team. Their championship rings coming later on. And as they carry that big piece of hardware out to the pitcher's mound area, we're going to do just a brief pause so we can get a great photo of this World Series championship team. And as soon as that picture is completed, we will then introduce you to the members of the 2016 All-World team. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so now that we've finished the pictures, let's turn to the introduction of this year's All-World team. For each of the All-World team members who's still here with us in the stadium, I'd ask that you come down to the home plate area to accept your award, and at the conclusion of that award presentation, we'll get a picture of the All-World team. So here we go with the introductions. First, from Smash It Sports, the infielder Bryson Baker. And Bryson comes out to accept the award, and as he does, let me introduce you to the members of the USSSA staff who will be handing out those awards. That's Bryson with Mr. Danny Brown, the Assistant Executive Director. Also presenting awards, Kevin Nagley, the Executive Vice President of Softball Operations. You've already met the two tournament directors, Elliot Clark and Strawn Kennison. The National Umpire-in-Chief, Rick Robertson. And you've got Regional Vice Presidents, Tony DiDonatis, Craig Hutchison, and Clay Dickey. All right, the next member of the All-World team, from Backman, Kevin Kennington. Next, an outfielder from Scene, Brandon Dillon. From Smash It, outfielder Brian Wegman. From Team Combat, Chris Greinert. From Smash It, catcher Kevin Philby. So we're going to slow it down to make sure we get a picture with everyone. Brandon accepting his award, now Chris Greinert. All right, the next member of the all-world team, from Backman, Jeremy Yates. Next, from 3rd Street, Tommy Melton. From Smash It, Kyle Pearson. And from Scene, Dale Brungertz. Tommy Melton accepting the award. Congratulations, Dale. From Smash It, Brett Helmer. From Team Combat, Dennis Ruley. While we're waiting on Dennis, if he's still around, let me introduce another member. From Rismondo, Greg Cannell. From Backman, Lee Powers. From Scene, Keith Lasky. From Backman, Brian Logan. From Team Combat, Brian Zirkle. From Smash It, Scott Kirby. From Scene, Eric Canopy. From Backman, Ryan Stovall. And last but certainly not least, the man who pitched Smash It to the World Series Championship, Mr. Travis Clark. And finally, no all-world team would be complete without an all-world manager. He made this team as a player, now he's made it as a manager. From Smash It, Billy Messina. And we will now move to the 4 individual awards. The first goes to the home run champion. He led this year's World Series with 14 home runs. He also won the home run derby, so he doubled up. This year's home run champion from Backman, Jeremy Yates. Next, the Gold Glove Award presented to the player whose outstanding defensive play throughout the tournament shone above all others. From Backman, the center fielder, Brian Logan. Next, the outstanding offensive player in this year's World Series. Let me first give you his offensive numbers. He went 18 out of 23 at the plate. He hit 12 home runs. He had 17 RBIs, and he also just happens to be the all-time leader in home runs at the World Series. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brett Helmer. All right, and last and certainly not least, the award to the most valuable player in this year's tournament. Let me give you his offensive numbers. He went 20 out of 22, hitting .909, one of the highest batting averages ever in a World Series. He had 12 home runs. He had 22 RBIs. He played an outstanding defensive first base. Ladies and gentlemen, your 2016 Most Valuable Player, Mr. Kyle Pearson. So congratulations to Kyle, congratulations to all the members of this year's All-World team. Once more, congratulations to Smash It Sports, our 2016 World Series champions. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to close the book on yet another outstanding USSSA men's major